Welcome to Ring the Damn Bell. I am your host, KG. And with me tonight, I have a very special co-host, Triple M. What's going on, man? Oh, you there, my friend? You're on mute.
I'm here.
Okay, cool.
And this is crazy because I can actually now hear you better.
Cool. That'll work. Good. We were having some technical difficulties, but it seems to be straightened up. So, like I said, I have Triple M, very special co-host. Tell the fans a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Triple M, and if you're seeing this face, you know you're in the right place. I am the golden voice of professional wrestling here in Southern California. I work for quite a few of the independent companies here, and it's a pleasure and honor to be here with you, my good friend, Mr. Kevin Landry.
I really appreciate it. My regular co-host wasn't able to make it tonight, and I gave Triple M a call the last minute. He was like, "Let's do this, man. Great guy." So let's start off with a little bit of news. AEW, people have been wondering about the numbers that Max is doing with AEW, and they finally came out and said that a new report provides an update on AEW streaming on Max. AEW started to simulcast on Max with AEW Dynamite with the Fight for the Fallen special episode on January 1st, and Collision has been doing so as well. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful reports that per WD sources, the official viewership numbers has been kept close to their vest. However, they confirmed that AEW has ranked among the top live sports events on Max since they debuted on their service. So I know that the numbers on TBS hasn't been reflecting that great, between 400 or 500,000 people watching. But if you add those Max numbers in, it seems like maybe, just maybe, they're doing a lot better than what we thought.
And I would imagine that because as someone who goes back and likes to watch things that I haven't seen before, if it's in their library, this might be interesting to the casual fan or non-wrestling fan. What's this stuff, but also, the rewatches, and all that. So I mean, it doesn't surprise me that they're doing better numbers than we thought.
Yeah, that's good. I know there's a lot of tribalism right now between professional wrestling. I myself, I like AW, I like WWE, I like all professional wrestlers. So I want them all to succeed. So this is good news. Let's talk about Brock Anderson a little bit. Brock Anderson, who is of course the son of Orn Anderson, he did an interview with KNS Russell based on why he left AEW. He said, after about a year and a half, I was like, it's great. I loved everybody there. I appreciate the opportunity. Tony Khan and everybody, it's just where I was. I needed to be somewhere where I could actually get repetition and learn the business. Anderson noted they sent me another. They wanted to redo the current deal I was on, but it was not enough. So I was like, maybe we should just don't do this and we go our separate ways. I think it was the best decision I've made. Why do you think that they weren't booking Anderson in a better way than they was? I mean, he was basically just an enhanced talent in many ways. I mean, his dad is one of the great legends.
His father is one of the original four horsemen. It's the same problem that AEW always has. Tony Khan thinks he knows more about the business than he does. He books with his wallet and not with any kind of logic. He doesn't listen to the people that he should be listening to or hire people he should be listening to.
Yeah, I think part of the problem as well is Brock Anderson. His look was really a throwback to the 80s and early 90s. he didn't have all that flair that a lot of the wrestlers have today as far as their gimmicks. And I think that Tony Khan looked at that as a negative, but I think that it's going to bite him in the ass because I think that the more experience Brock gets, the better he's going to be. I mean, he has his dad on his side working with him. There's no way that Brock Anderson won't eventually stand out amongst a lot of the so-called better stars in AEW. So I think this is a bad move on Tony Khan.
There's a lot of mismanagement of talent that goes on in AEW. Guys that don't deserve a push are getting a push.
Yeah, I agree. Then, of course, let's talk about Hulk Hogan for a second. Despite appearing in advertisements for WWE Saturday Night Main Event, WWE Hall of Famer Hulk Hogan was never actually booked for the show. Everybody was saying that Hogan decided to back out of his deal for Saturday Night Main Event, and that appears that's just not true. Apparently, he was never actually booked for the show, which is coming from San Antonio, Texas, this week. Well, tonight, actually. And according to PW Insiders, Mike Johnson, Hogan will not be appearing on the NBC special because his son, Nick Hogan, is getting married. Then there's also the fact that Brooke Hogan, who married NHL player Steven Oleski in June of 22, welcomed their twins, a boy and a girl, into the world on January 15th. So it just makes sense. Hogan has a lot of family things going on. So I can understand why he won't be at Saturday Night Main Event. But it's funny how rumors fly. Oh, he was booked, and because of what happened in LA, WWE kind of forced him to back out the deal. That again, that's not the truth. Hogan was never actually booked for the show tonight.
I'll beg to differ because he was advertised. He was advertised and he was announced as one of the commentators for the evening. Okay, so to say he wasn't booked is BS. Okay,
Well,
all of
I
a
can
sudden,
wait.
wait, you're gonna advertise the man, then all of a sudden his son is getting married. I'm sorry. I know BS when it's being fed to me. And they can sugarcoat it however they want. They can rewrap it however they want. I'm a firm believer he got pulled from Saturday night's main event because of the reaction he got at Raw.
Well, that could be true. I can only go by the news.
Oh no, and
Look,
I get
I
it.
think
I
there's a
get
lot
it.
of money to be made with Hogan right now. I think that if Hogan leans into what happened, because look, professional wrestling fans, they're in many ways their followers. So because he got booed in LA, I think he's going to get booed everywhere else he goes. Not for the same reasons that LA booed him, but just because LA booed him. And I think, and like I said, if he leans into it, WWE and Hulk Hogan can make a lot of money off of that right now. All these,
I don't disagree with you with him leaning into it, but I've noticed the younger fans don't like Hulk Hogan. They don't care about him. They're not connected to him. It's guys like you and me who grew up in the 80s and 90s seeing him. And now, even for me, I'm like, oh, it's the Hulkster. I popped harder for Jimmy Hart than I did for Hulk Hogan.
yeah, I was never a fan of Hulk Hogan because I grew up in the South watching Mid South Wrestling, where they were doing reality wrestling before WWE ever did it. And when I was first introduced to WWF at the time by my brother, and I seen Hulk Hogan, it was just too cartoonish for me because of what I was used to watching with professional wrestling. So I was never a big Hogan fan to begin with.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, he deserves his place in wrestling history, but I think he needs to stay there for a while.
yeah, I agree. Hogan definitely deserves the
And
respect of the art, the things that he did for professional wrestling with Vince McMahon. But yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't know what's going on with him and Flair. It's like they just don't want to accept that their time has come and gone.
Brother, the spotlight is a unique substance, and it's one of the most addicting things you will ever experience. The roar of that crowd, the pop, the booze, you live for it. Then you think you get tired of it, and yeah, I'm done with it. And then you come running back.
Yeah, yeah, I can only imagine. But let's get into SmackDown last night. SmackDown started with Cody Rhodes coming to the ring for an interview with Joe Testerer. I probably butchered his last name.
Tessitory.
He talked about his match against Owen at this week's Saturday Night Main Event. The segment ended without interruption or attack, and of course, what he's talking about with him facing KO tonight, they're not actually wrestling. There's something going on with addendum with the contract where neither one wants to sign it. They're going to be meeting in the ring face to face with Shawn Michaels to get this signed. Like I said, the segment ended without interruption or attack. Rhodes, in my opinion, did a great job putting KO over in his interview. He called him once in a lifetime generation talent. What are your thoughts?
Um, I think it's a good segment. I'm happy they didn't touch. Um, the contract signing is going to be interesting. Kevin Owens is going to pull some shit. Um, but I actually like where this is going. The ladder match, Shawn Michaels being the one to administer the contract for a ladder match at WrestleMania when Shawn Michaels had the first ladder match at WrestleMania. Um, Scott Hall, Razor Ramon happened to be in the ring at the time. Well, Shawn Michaels had a banger with the ladder. Okay. I think they're doing the storytelling right. I really do. Um, we but don't forget the little breadcrumbs that are being left in the background. We are seeing the shades of the heel Cody Rhodes slowly coming into the top. Little here and there, we're gonna see it. Um, KO is the perfect guy to work against Cody right now because there's a million ways KO can keep the crowd's attention.
Yeah,
Like how how villainous, how villainous is Kevin Owens when he comes down to the ring wearing a Naomi shirt? Right, that's heel energy. That's a big heel energy.
yeah, I agree. At first, this whole thing with KO and Cody Rhodes, I was a little bored with it, but man, they've really picked up their what they're doing within the storyline, and I agree, it's gotten to be really interesting and a ladder match. I'm really intrigued to see this match at WrestleMania or Royal Rumble. I'm sorry, the ladder match. I think it's gonna be a great
Oh
match.
yeah, Royal Rumble.
Yep, yep. So
Um,
after that segment, there's tag team match with Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley, Motor City Machine Guns taking on Kit Wilson and Elton Prince, who are pretty daily. Man, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know why I cannot connect with Pretty Deadly, but there's just something there that is a disconnect for me.
I love them. I love them. They are outlandish. They are outrageous. The outfit. My fiance was like, why are they even wearing anything if they're wearing that on top? Like it doesn't even cover their nipples. Um, but they push a certain button, right? They kind of remind me of like the body Donnas in a way, right? That not exactly the same gimmick, but similar energy. They're gonna be guys that are gonna be upper mid card in the tag team division, but they may hold the titles a few times. I see them being placeholders for other champions, if you know what I mean, like the
Yep.
transitional tag team champions. Let's see where it goes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that maybe I don't like Pretty Deadly is because I'm not supposed to like them. Maybe
Yeah.
that's them doing a good enough job, and I just don't realize that's why I don't like them. But Pretty Deadly, they actually got in a lot of offense, and they actually almost won the match with a double team Bulldog maneuver, and that looked really, really good. Motor City Machine Guns made a comeback though and scored the win with the skull and crossbones. Uh, I would give this match a solid B.
I would too. It was a good match. There was a few spots that had me like, oh damn, I haven't seen that before. Like when one of the Pretty Deadly, I think it was the brunette guy, went in the corner and launched the blonde guy off of his back into a code breaker. That was pretty cool. Um, I really like the Motor City Machine Guns finishing move. Right. I've been a fan of the guns for a long time. Had the pleasure of watching them at one of my first PWG shows going against the Young Bucks when they were still at PWG. I mean, I just think it's the right time. You got some very good. Why does SmackDown have the tag team depth that Raw doesn't?
That's a good question. I don't know. And for a long time, WWE just they weren't pushing their tag team divisions. I really think it wasn't until Triple H really came in that we started to see more tag teams.
Yeah.
So after the match, Owens came to the ring and cut a promo about everybody sucking up to Rhodes. But Jimmy Uso came out and ended up attacking him to shut him up. Owens antagonizing Matthew McConaughey was just hilarious. It was great.
Bro, like I'm a big fan of Matthew McConaughey. I don't think there's one of his movies I haven't seen. Okay. And just to see Matthew McConaughey being Matthew McConaughey, I looked at my fiance and I said, you know what? Matthew McConaughey in every movie he's been in has played a different version of himself. Because he's just right there like, all right, KL, right? But it was cool. Again, some people are gonna have complaints that WWE used a celebrity. That's what you're supposed to do when you have a big event the following night. Let's get it straight. Saturday night's main event is a smaller pay-per-view for free, right? They got to give something to the fans for free on a Saturday night. So to bring in the star power, I think is really, really a big touch, especially someone like Matthew McConaughey, who's very famous in Texas. He's a big Texas football guy. The crossover promotion is beautiful. They've mastered this. Um, Kevin Owens being Kevin Owens, though.
Yeah, I agree. After the break, Carmelo Hayes was shown complaining to Nick Aldis about his match being canceled. So the GM offered him a new opponent who was just drafted to SmackDown. Hayes was very hesitant because of what happened to him the last time this happened, of course, which was Braun Strowman coming in and pretty much a squash match. So he said that he wanted to see who it was before accepting the match. I think this was a decent segment. And we'll get into more about Mel Hayes whenever this match takes place. But I don't know if I'm torn about him because he's kind of being booked as an enhanced talent in many ways, and he's very talented.
Now, he is, and there's two ways you could go about this situation. Okay. There is victory and loss in professional wrestling. Look at Tommy Dreamer. Look at
Yep.
Tommy Dreamer. He made it work, right? Um, I think they're trying to knock him down a few pegs. I don't know if he pissed somebody off in the back. And I'm not talking about another wrestler, maybe an
Right.
executive.
Yep.
Um, and they're giving him that, well, you're gonna learn your lesson now. I mean, and considering what a big star he was on NXT, right? He was captain of the ship. He ran the show, he was the face of the show. And this is something that I've just come to live with NXT stars coming to the main rosters. Some of them are gonna be a hit, some of them are gonna be used like Apollo Crews.
Yep. Yep. And well, look, there are wrestlers who say that they were fearful of going to the main roster, that they wanted to stay on NXT because of exactly what you just said. So so next up we had another tag team match. This time it was a women's tag team match. B-Fab and Meechin taking on Chelsea Green and Piper Nevin. Green was Beaton's main focus throughout the match, since they have been in the feud for several weeks, but Niven and BFAB weren't left out. Uh, BFAB and Mitchin defeated Green and Nevin. It was an okay match. I would give this a C.
I want to give it a B minus because of Chelsea Green. Her antics, her outfit, Piper Viven being Secret Service for the U.S. champion. I love it. I love it. Um, Be Fabulous looks like she's gonna get there, but leaves a little bit more to be desired. I happen to be a fan of Meechin. She's from my part of the world. She's from Fontana, California, which is not too far from where I live. But yeah, I mean, we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. I saw a few spots that could have been a little bit better executed, but really, Piper Niven and Chelsea Green, their facial expressions, their comedic presence in the match is what made it for me.
Yeah, I am just now starting to warm up to Chelsea Green. I just wasn't a fan of hers. But what did it for me, there's a match from Lucha Underground between Penta and Chelsea Green.
Yeah.
And I tell you that I don't know if it's because of WWE or she has decided that she wants to extend her career. But that match on Lucha Underground was nuts. And she did things that I was like, holy shit, I didn't realize that she could do.
Yeah.
Now, during this match, something that made me laugh was Barrett made a big deal about Long B's or B Fab's legs. And I'm like, really? It came off as both funny and a little creepy. Her legs.
Oh, she's got legs for days and she knows how to use them.
Yeah.
I think that was more of a callback to Jerry Lawler when
Mhm.
he used to commentate when Stacy Keibler was wrestling. But yeah, it was borderline creepy.
Yep. Next, we had a video package of Braun Strowman and Jacob Fatu. I really liked it. What are your thoughts on it?
I liked it too. I liked how they broke down their sizes.
Mhm.
Um, Braun Strowman is a big fucking guy. I'm sorry for using the F word,
Oh, go ahead.
but there's no other word that could give gravity. A 60-inch chest. This man has arms the size of rims on cars. He had what, a 22-inch neck? Good God, he's built like my ex-wife. Okay. But though he has the size, he's the big West Virginian. Samoan strength is something else. Though the numbers don't lean in Jacob's favor, you cannot underestimate the explosive power of Jacob Fatu.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk about more about these two here in a bit. Definitely. Next, we had Tiffany Stratton. She came out to give a promo that was quickly interrupted by Rhea Ripley. They were soon joined by Nia Jax and Candice LeRae, who were followed by Naomi and Bianca Belair. They were then followed by Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. This was a typical WWE segment when they're about to have big matches like the Royal Rumble. It was okay, and of course, this led to a triple tag team match. Now, what I liked about this, it made me laugh, was Tiffany Stratton said, "Fuck this," and went under the ropes and hauled ass back to the ring. And I like that.
As soon
I
as
think that
she
WWE did this because look, I love Tiffany Stratton, but there's a little bit more that needs to be developed within her character. And also they're keeping her, you don't really know if she's a true baby face or a heel. And for me, if they would put her in that match, then that would have determined if she's a baby face or a heel. Instead, they left the fans wondering exactly what direction she's going in.
I had to hit rewind because I love when Rhea Ripley hits that headbutt and it came out of nowhere, hit lift. But if you go back and you watch the footage, as soon as Rhea hits the headbutt, Tiffy's out of dodge.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
She saw it coming before the headbutt even lands. She's halfway out of the ropes.
Yep. Now, real quick, what I really liked about this is WWE actually gave these women a pretty long amount of time. We went into a break and then into the next segment with them. So
Yeah.
Good for WWE for featuring their women, and that's one thing that WWE is doing so much better than AEW is when they're featuring their female talent. It's not hokey. They are like in some really good storylines
Yeah.
with the women, and that's where
Um,
AEW fails. The result was Jax, LeRae, and Morgan defeated Ripley, Belair, and Naomi. I would give this a solid B.
yeah, it was a good match. It was a very good match. I mean, everybody executed their spot. And like you could, they were promoting two different matches at one time in this one match because they're promoting the Royal Rumble. But let's not forget what happens later on tonight, right? On Saturday night's main event. Um, it's just it's awesome to see how they're using the females. It's nice to see that they're putting prominence. Contrary to popular belief, the brand split is very much in effect, people. But when you have a show that's involving both brands' talent on a single show, you're gonna get the crossover of the Raw superstars. Hi, Jerome. Um, but yeah, another thing that was telling, and you hit it on the head, like Tiffany needs a little bit more, is the pop Rhea got over the pop the SmackDown Women's Champion got.
Yeah, and it was very noticeable as well. Very noticeable.
Yeah, it was at least 20 decibel difference.
Yep. Yep. And I think Tiffany, I think that she's eventually going to get there. She's young. She has a lot of talent. She's from my neck of the woods where I'm at from Minnesota. So I'm pretty confident that, within a year to 2 years time, I think that she's going to be much bigger star power wise than what she is now. And that's regardless if she's a heel or a baby face. So then the next segment we go into is a video package for Charlotte Flair's return. Um, it was okay. My issue is Charlotte going to just come back into Royal Rumble and win it for the title? I prefer not to see that. I want to see something fresh. I really hope because everyone's expecting Charlotte Flair to win the Royal Rumble. I really hope WWE swerves everyone and she doesn't win.
She's Charlotte. She's Charlotte. And I hope they swerve us too. And she ends up winning it at the Women's Elimination Chamber.
That I would be okay with 100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, because then it gives her time to antagonize Tiffy a little bit. Like the other women in the division, reestablish herself as the top female heel. You know?
Yep. Absolutely. Next, we go to Apollo Crews and Johnny Gargano. They had a singles match. It happened this week after Crews insulted DIY backstage in a previous segment. Uh, you know, I and Crews defeated Gargano because his tag team partner came in and distracted everyone, and that allowed Crews to get the win. I'm glad that they didn't use Tommaso Ciampa to actually come in and interfere by putting hands and costing Crews the match. I like that Crews won. I don't think Crews is used enough on WWE. I like, he. I
You know
like.
what?
I think he's good in the ring and he's good on the mic. I don't know what the problem is.
You know, I went back and watched that match, and it's obvious that Cruz is the baby face in the match because of Tommaso's interference a couple times. Then he only got the win because the Motor City Machine Guns came down.
Right.
Why can't Apollo get a clean win?
Yep, I agree.
He's so talented. He's good on the mic. If you guys aren't, if SmackDown has nothing for him, please send him back to NXT and let him be a bigger star there.
Yeah, I agree. And because look, although I am so glad he got the win, at the same time, it made him look weak because the only way he could get those wins is by some type of interference.
Yes.
Yep. So next we had LA Knight. He took on Tonga, and Fatu was at Tama's side. Before that match, we had Fatu cut a promo. I like that they started giving the mic more. This was an LA Knight. He did a promo as well on the edge of the ring. But this fight between Tonga and Knight, man, this was a decent match. Knight ended up defeating Tonga. I would give this a B. For myself, the big thing is what happened after the match with the interference. And then with Braun Strowman and Fatu out there together, I was really hoping WWE would keep them apart. But even though it wasn't much physical contact, Braun Strowman ended up giving Fatu a clothesline out the ring. Tama held Fatu back, but he still, in sense, Fatu kind of was the loser of that. My issue is if you go according to wrestling rules, right, follow the formula, tonight we know that Fatu is going to beat Braun Strowman, which I thought would be the case to begin with. I just wanted to be surprised about it.
Two things. It was more than that clothesline over the top rope. Tongaloa went to go try to hit something on Strowman. Strowman batted him away. Jacob comes, bypass into the corner, clothesline over the top rope. Now, I don't agree with your philosophy. This very much, I foresee it as a match going out of control, and they brawl their way through the crowd to the back. It's a double DQ.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so because I don't want to see Fatu. Obviously, I don't want to see his shoulders get pinned. It would really take away from the mystique and what they're trying to do with them. But I also don't want to see Braun Strowman take the loss either. So I hope it is a spot.
Neither one can afford the loss because it diminishes the monstrosity that they are.
Right.
I'm calling double DQ. The referee gets murdered somehow. You know what I mean? Like, I think I think we might go through a couple referees in this match.
Maybe.
Because you're talking about Godzilla taking on King Kong. Okay? They're booking this as a kaiju match. Right? So
and Fatu even said it in his promo, except what he said is that you're not King Kong and you're not Godzilla. I'm both of them. So the way they're booking Fatu although he's not as big as Braun Strowman, he's as big of a monster as Braun Strowman in that sense.
Yes. And okay, so Strowman's taking on Bronson Reed, right? Has Fatu taken on Bronson Reed?
I've never seen that match.
I'd love to.
I would too.
Yeah, I get. Then that's why I'm saying, like, Braun Strowman is a towering man. Okay, he's a monolith of a man. Okay, though Jacob is a little bit at the size disadvantage, you cannot underestimate his strength. Right? I was at a high school wrestling event earlier, and there was a Samoan wrestler from one high school going up against another wrestler. The Samoan was the weight class, but he didn't have the size on the taller and a little bit more stockier built wrestler. and that child ate that big boy up for lunch. I have never seen a more beautiful belly to belly suplex done in high school wrestling than that. And that big giant boy was surprised he was in the air and being brought down with such force. I will not count Jacob Fatu out of this fight.
Well, no, and look, the fact of the matter is that Jacob Fatu comes from that Samoan family that had Samoans like the Wild Samoans, and so that family bloodline, look, they are known for being beast. You don't want to cross them. So I think that this is going to be a good match, and I agree, or at least I hope that it's going to be a double disqualification.
It
Because look,
doesn't
we've
make
seen
sense
Braun
for
Strowman
either one to
take
take
pins
the
before,
pin.
right? We've seen him take the 3 count, but since he's been back, the way that they seem to be booking him, that does not need to happen right now.
No. I see some shit going on backstage, right? I see somebody going through a table. I see somebody maybe go through a window. You know what I mean? Maybe a
Yeah.
door. Like, wouldn't it be crazy to see them bust through some freaking drywall? Like some real monstrous fighting stuff? Like the Incredible Hulk versus someone the same strength as the Incredible Hulk?
But I tell you, if they bust through drywall, I really hope that WWE does it better than the terrible times that we've seen people go through drywalls on AEW. Terrible. Like, good God. All right, let's get to the next match. Hayes and Priest. They were booked into a singles match by Elders during an earlier segment. Um, you know, it was a decent match. I just hate to constantly see Hayes taking L's. It is what it is. I would give this a solid B.
I would too. He sold for Damien. He made Damien look good. The going into the finish was a little awkward, but they got there. I just hope things start turning around for Carmelo.
I do too. So we then seen a short promo or a short segment with Damian Priest backstage. There's Cody Rhodes. They passed by. Cody Rhodes welcomed him to SmackDown, shook hands. As he walked away, Damian Priest said, "I'll be seeing you soon, champ." I have no doubt that they're going to book a match between Damian Priest and Cody Rhodes if Cody Rhodes indeed keeps the belt. My 2 questions for you is this. One, are we going to see Damian Priest turn heel, or will he already be going against a Cody Rhodes who turned heel earlier? The other question is, do you really see them having Cody Rhodes drop the belt to Damian Priest? My answer to both is I hope it is a heel Cody Rhodes. I love a heel Cody Rhodes. As far as the belt being dropped, Damian Priest, as good as Damian Priest is, and as much as I think he deserves to have another run as champ, I don't think it's going to be him beating Cody Rhodes.
I think Damian Priest versus Cody Rhodes would be a huge disservice to everybody. One, I don't see Cody Rhodes being a heel in that time frame. Right? There's a few more steps that need to happen for him to fully embrace the dark side. I do believe they're going to keep Damian as a face because he's doing great as a baby face. There's no reason to turn him heel at this point. He can be even like an in between where he's kind of like, I hate to say it, but he kind of like has that American badass Undertaker energy a little bit, right? I would rather see Damien go after Shinsuke.
That would be a great match. It really would. It really would. Uh, Speaking of, Shinsuke has not been on SmackDown. I don't remember being on last week's SmackDown, and he wasn't on this week. So I wonder what's going on with that.
I don't know. Maybe they're waiting for something to come up for him, right? Like the ice. I noticed the United States title hasn't been defended since Shinsuke took it off of LA Knight. So I don't know if they're gonna go into where he's gonna be like, no, well, why should I defend it and reenact that 30-day clause?
Yeah.
Or maybe they're just waiting for after the Royal Rumble to really start reestablishing the IC division because the focus seems to be on the World Heavyweight and the WWE Undisputed.
Yep, that's true. Which takes us to the main event. Jimmy Uso going against Kevin Owens. The results were Owens defeating Uso. But as Uso was walking to the ring, we seen Hayes hit Uso from the back. There's a little bit of a tussle, nothing too terrible. And then Uso went to the ring and the match happened. They're obviously going to continue this feud between Hayes and Uso, Jimmy Uso. Going back to Carmelo Hayes again, I really hope they give him a couple of victories over Uso by the time it's all said and done. But what did
Yeah.
you think about the match? After Owens won the match, Cody ran to the ring because Kevin Owens was going to do his thing to Jimmy Uso. Cody Rhodes came out and saved him. So I'd give this a B plus all in all.
I give it a B plus as well. I can now tell Jimmy from Jay.
Well, Jimmy now has long hair. Jay now has short hair.
Yeah. So that made it easier for me. But it was a good match. It's par for the course for me, right? It was a good back and forth. The whole thing with Carmelo Hayes jumping off a new little angle for Carmelo for another big star to beat him up. B plus. I mean, there was nothing overly special about this match.
Right. Nope. I agree. Overall, I would give. We've been saying this great a lot, but overall, I give SmackDown a solid B. That's nice.
I'm gonna give it a solid B, and I'm gonna rank the student of the month for this edition as Chelsea Green.
Okay. Okay.
She was the real standout for me on this episode of SmackDown.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. But well, that is the recap of SmackDown. Um, Exciting news for fans. April, who wrestled for Glow, she was one of the original Glow women. So her wrestling name was the Royal Hawaiian. She is amazing. I spoke to her on the phone today for an hour, and I could have stayed on the phone for another 3 or 4 hours with her if I didn't have to get ready to do this podcast. A great, amazing, talented woman. For those of you who may not be familiar with Glow, Glow was a all-women federation back in the 80s, and they really did a lot for women's wrestling up until even today. They actually made a series a couple of years ago that was on Netflix called Glow. So again, all of us older people who remember watching it live, it was really, really good. Those younger people, I would encourage you to go watch the series and as well as maybe go to YouTube to watch Glow, the original Glow, Women of Wrestling. It was Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. I really encourage you to do it. And I really encourage everybody to check the interview out. I know that it's absolutely going to be amazing. That interview is February 3rd. So please subscribe. It's free to my YouTube channel. And not only will you catch interview with the Royal Hawaiian, you're going to get notifications about all the interviews that I have coming up. Starting on Tuesday, I have wrestling legend Bob Cook, who is going to be joining us every Tuesday to do a recap of Monday Night Raw. I'm so excited about that. Triple M, man, thank you so much for filling in. You're absolutely awesome. I'm so glad that we crossed paths and I was able to meet you. And I need you to do me 2 favors. One, if you have any dates you want to put out there, please feel free. And but after you do that, I want you to cut a short heel promo to end the podcast.
Oh, no problem. So you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at the number 3PLEM84. I will be appearing at Wrestling Warzone March 8th in San Diego, California. And March 30th, we will be at Don Quixote nightclub on Olympic and Soto in East LA for East Los Lucha Mania. And now you want a heel promo.
I want a heel promo from you to how good you are at it.
If you're seeing this face, you know you're in the right place. That's right. It's that golden voice that keeps you moist. Everybody's number one choice, Triple M. And you're here with Kevin Landry. And if you're tuning in, you're smart. But if you don't tune in, I'm going to have to sue your ass for being an idiot because this is the best in wrestling talk. And it's not because of all the other stars that have been on here. It's because of Triple M. Remember that.
Triple M, you are awesome. Thank you as always. Guys, again, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I will be back tomorrow to do a recap of the main event, the Saturday night main event on NBC with WWE. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hope you guys have a great night. Triple M, thank you so much again, my friend. Have a good night.
Pleasure and honor as always, Kevin.